Hello, Mr. Nurlan Zhakupov. Thanks for joining us today. So let me start from asking you about Kazakhstan's uranium industry development. As we know, our country became the leader in uranium production, accounting for 42% of global production. Earlier this year, you visited some of the uranium deposits in southern region of our country, and you instructed to increase investment in further exploration. So why is it important? My first question. And my second question, if to talk about long-term goals, what is ambition of Kazakhstan in uranium industry as general, as a whole?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to your program. Yes, correct. Since 2009, we as a country hold the first place in terms of global uranium output. That's right. Kazakhstan accounts for 42% share of the global uranium production. And our reserves of uranium amount to 700,000 tons. And in order to maintain our current position, our current market share, and our current leadership role, we need to be mindful about sustainability. Therefore, we need to be investing into exploration works. Moreover, during the address of the State of the Nation addressed by the President of Kazakhstan on the 1st of September, he underscored the importance of geological exploration works, and uranium is not an exception. Therefore, we are very much focused on increasing our reserves of uranium in future. On the other hand, uranium production is one of the few industries where we as a country hold a significant global role. Although it's not the biggest part of our GDP,
right.
But still we are a significant player on the global market. Therefore, we have all the ingredients in order to maintain our current leadership role, and we will do our best to maintain this position.
Right, but Kazakhstan is still heavily dependent on fossil fuel. This is fact, but now is eager to make a transition to use more of the alternatives, right? So developing nuclear energy as well in this regard. And earlier, President Tokayev said that this is necessary to build first ever nuclear power plants in our country, and I know that the interest is growing among foreign investors on this particular project. So do we have any priority so far when we approach selection process of the investors, and how it will define the whole future of nuclear energy of our country in the upcoming years?
During State of the Nation addressed by the President, it was mentioned that the decision on the construction of the nuclear power plant in Kazakhstan will be taken at the national referendum. Therefore, we will be eagerly waiting for the results of this referendum. It means that the people of Kazakhstan will decide whether there will be a nuclear power plant in Kazakhstan or not. It will happen, I would suppose, sometime in the near future. Having said all that, we've been in talks and discussions with potential vendors. There is a number of companies which expressed an interest in terms of delivering the technology and being EPC or in any other capacity helping us to construct the nuclear power plant.
There are several vendors,
Absolutely.
as I know, so far.
There are companies from France which were interested in construction. There is a company from China, from Russia, and from South Korea. But as mentioned earlier, the decision on the nuclear power plant construction will be taken by the people of Kazakhstan at the state referendum.
But from the Samruk-Kazyna side, do we have an approach, a mechanism of how to select those possible investors, those possible vendors?
It will be done in conjunction with our government, with the Ministry of Energy in particular. We have a subsidiary company called Kazakh Nuclear Electricity Stations Company, which will potentially be the vehicle via which we'll be executing and doing this project. it's going to be a holistic approach together with the Ministry of Energy and the government, based on the results of referendum, as mentioned earlier.
And it's very important that this process will be very open and transparent, right, for all to know how the selection process is being done.
Yes, absolutely. This is a huge issue, and it's a huge project. Usually the construction of a nuclear power plant takes generally from 8 to 12 years, depending on the technology, on the conditions, on the market environment. And we need to take a holistic approach and take into the account all the factors, starting from the environmental factor, location, financial factor, who will be financing this, at what terms is the financing will be raised, what will be the tariff at the end of the day, how long will it take to construct, who will be the vendor. So, this is a complex issue which needs a complex systemic approach. That's why we are very well aligned with our government and with the Ministry of Energy in particular.
Right. Kazakhstan also produces fuel pellets for nuclear power at the Ulba metallurgical plant in Uсть-Kamenogorsk, with exporting these products predominantly to China. But when we talk about exports, how we approach the diversification of exports in terms of adding value to this process?
There is a term in the uranium or nuclear sector, there is a term called NFC, nuclear fuel cycle. Right. What it means, the nuclear fuel cycle is composed from several stages. Number one is mining. Number two is conversion. Number three is enrichment. Number four is production of fuel assemblies. Number five is nuclear power plant. And number six is nuclear waste management. This is in a very broad high-level terms, 6 main stages of nuclear fuel cycle. At the moment, we as Kazakhstan, we are present in 2 stages: mining, uranium mining, and nuclear fuel assemblies production. In Uсть-Kamenogorsk, we produce nuclear fuel assemblies. We use French technology provided by Framatome, and we sell them to China, to CGN, nuclear power plants, because they use this technology. We are looking at potential diversification into other stages of nuclear fuel cycle, but the decision will be made on commercial merits, if it will make sense for us from commercial point of view, if there will be a market, if the profit margins will be in line with our existing investment policies and IRR thresholds, then of course we will consider and make a weighted decision whether to expand further into nuclear fuel cycle.
Do we want to activate all this production cycle here in Kazakhstan? Is it even possible, and how much time it can take, if we are talking about the time perspective?
Of course, on one hand, we are looking at nuclear fuel cycle expansion and diversification. And if we will be doing that, of course, we will be considering Kazakhstan as first choice, the territory of Kazakhstan. But as mentioned earlier, all our decisions will be driven by commercial merits. If it will make sense for us to invest into one of those stages, if it will have relevant and acceptable by us IRR, internal rate of return thresholds, then of course we will be carefully considering and making relevant investment decisions. Because from time to time, market situation changes, and if, for example, if we invest today in something, tomorrow we might hit a down cycle, the floor, and I mean, all the decisions are made in the best interest of our minority shareholders and in the best interest of Samruk-Kazyna, i.e. the people of Kazakhstan.
Right, and let us talk a little bit about challenges. What kind of challenges do you foresee in development of uranium industry of Kazakhstan? And the most important question, I guess, would be how to make sure that this strategic energy sector of Kazakhstan will remain under control of Kazakhstan government.
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think the main challenges is market volatility. No one has a crystal ball. Current market environment is quite favorable for the producers such as Kazatomprom. We are experiencing relatively high prices for uranium, and all the producers are enjoying this period. But this has not always been the case. Not in that distant future, we had quite low prices where not very efficient producers were suffering from low prices, were underwater. In terms of our position as a leader, I think Kazatomprom and we as Kazakhstan, we do have all the relevant and necessary ingredients in order to be self-sufficient. Kazatomprom is London Stock Exchange listed companies. 25% of Kazatomprom is listed at LSE.
Right.
And it's our blue chip. Since 2019, EBITDA margin of Kazatomprom has always been above 40%, which is a great achievement. We are a dividend yield stock. And what it means...
We can be proud of this company.
Of course.
For sure.
We as Samruk-Kazyna, we are very proud of Kazatomprom because not only the best corporate governance standards, but it's one of the most efficient companies in our portfolio in terms of EBITDA and net income margins. Mm-hmm. And what I'm drifting to is that we do have all the right ingredients. On one hand, we are quite financially capable in terms of exploring and putting up and bringing up into production new deposits or new reserves.
Yes.
On the other hand, I think we do have the best expertise in the world in order to produce uranium by in situ leaching method. We have been cultivating and developing this expertise since last 18, 19 years. And having these two ingredients, on one hand we are financially quite capable and ample, and on the other hand we know how to produce it using the in situ leaching method, and which is one of the most efficient methods from cost efficiency. As mentioned earlier, we are located in the lowest quartile on the global cost curve, which means that we have the lowest cost of production for uranium.
And taking it all into account, let us talk globally a little bit. How, in your opinion, Kazakhstan should make this transition from energy consumer to global energy supplier?
This is a very broad question.
Maybe formula from you personally.
This is a little bit above my pay grade, but I will try to summarize my personal view. Basically, I think we need to diversify sources of our electricity generation. We are committed, of course, to carbon neutrality by 2060 as a country. At the moment, our base generation is a coal-based. It's on one hand, it's our competitive advantage, which we need to exploit, in my opinion. Coal industry is one of the significant industry which creates thousands of jobs, and we, as mentioned earlier, are blessed by nature, and we have an open pit coal deposit with one of the lowest costs.
Yes.
Therefore, it's natural for us to exploit this source of electricity generation. But on the other hand, as mentioned earlier, we are committed, fully committed to decarbonization principles, to 2015 Paris Agreement. And the testimony to that is that we in Samruk-Kazyna group of companies only in the next 3-4 years will put into operations roughly 5 gigawatt of alternative energy, 5 gigawatt of wind power farms with our French colleagues, with our Chinese colleagues, with our Emirati, Saudi, and other partners. On the other hand, we are quite carefully looking at electricity which is generated from the gas turbine power plants. At the moment, we are in the process of construction of 1 gigawatt of gas power plant, and we will be continuing this diversification. So having said all that, and of course hydro. At the moment, at the moment we possess roughly 2.3 gigawatts of hydro power energy, and we are committed to construct and increase this by another 30-35%. So basically, I think for us the key is diversification of the sources of energy, and at the end of the day, we would like we should become, we have all the right conditions to become power exporting nation, sustainable energy producer, and sky is the limit. We need to diversify and look at all possible and potential directions without sacrificing our existing natural competitive strengths.
And in the current global situation, do you expect uranium production to grow?
That's a very good question. According to World Nuclear Association, by 2030, the number of reactors, uranium nuclear powered reactors, will grow roughly by 30%. By 2040, by 58%. What it means? It means that all these new nuclear power plants will require uranium. They will require the fuel. So the answer is yes. If the demand will be growing, then the price will be growing accordingly. This is good not only for Kazakhstan, this is also good for Kazatomprom, because we do have one of the largest reserves as a country and as a company, and we do have the lowest cost of production of uranium. Therefore, I think it's a strong buy. It's quite simple and natural, and I think the upside growth potential of Kazatomprom share price is obvious in this current environment. Very simple, the population of the Earth will be growing. The global economy will be growing. Of course, there will be ups and downs, but generally we are growing, and therefore the growing economy will demand more energy, more electricity. And at the moment, we as humanity, we are obsessed with green energy. We finally understood that we need to be careful with our mother nature, with Earth, and nuclear energy. I think it's one of the clean sources of energy.
Would it be the future of
I think so. If we
energy sector in our country?
In our country, the people will decide. So
but globally,
I'm not sure. But globally, it's fully green. It's absolutely stable. And if humanity will overcome radiophobia, I think it's an interesting source of energy. And having said all that, the uranium prices, I think, will be going up. Therefore, the share price for Kazatomprom will eventually go up. And should anyone be interested in nice investment ideas, I encourage everyone to invest into Kazatomprom.
Right, that's very good news for, that would be very good news for Kazatomprom in particular, and for Kazakhstani market as a whole. So thank you very much, Mr. Nurlan Zhakupov, for your time and for your answers. We very appreciate it. Thank you.